What is going on, everybody? Anon here, and it's that time of the week where we're going to go through Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and other Indie TCG updates for distribution for the week. So, busy week last week. Really, last 2 weeks we had with Pokemon release with Mega One, which is an absolute craziness. We had the Spider-Man release, which was somewhat of a shit show. I know from my perspective, our pre-release was sold out the first day, and then Saturday and Sunday it was very, very weak, uncharacteristically weak. So we'll see what happens there. We have the Flesh and Blood set that came out. That looks like it's a little bit of a shit show there as well. So look, everybody's moving forward, looking for the next thing. So let us start with Riftbound, since this is what everybody is looking for right now. So Riftbound League of Legends, I have allocations from 3 distributors, 3 or 5, 3 or 4, 3 or 5, something like that. So it does appear that organized play does matter to some extent. I've been able to get a lot of product from my OP distributor, but I've also been able to get a fair amount of product from other distributors. Unlike Gundam, where it was if you're not OP, you're not getting anything, and then maybe you'll get a handful of boxes later. So I think that's positive. I have not heard anything about delays or anything like that, so I would imagine that it's going to be shipping here in the next couple weeks. So, we'll see what happens. It looks like it's going to be kind of cool. We'll see. Let's plow through a couple indies real quick. We'll just go right down the list here. Godzilla card game, the Godzilla 2, the second set, the Great Monster Battle, whatever the hell that it's called here, comes out on the 25th. We've actually had some people ask about that one, which is kind of cool. And I think we ordered 150 boxes, something like that. But the first game was interesting. I wish they'd do a little bit more publicity on this so we'd have some, get a little bit of support from the game. But it is what it is. And then we have Gundam. We have the second set coming out. By the way, I did mention that one distributor was taking orders for a reprint of New Type Rising. That was a couple weeks ago. I have not seen anything since then, so I tend to think that was probably in error because it did come out. It did come out right with the Gundam Assemble stuff, which is scheduled to come out in early 2026, as you can see here. And Gundam Assemble is just little paintable toys that you put on top of the cards to play the game. It's actually a pretty cool idea. So as of now, nobody has been able to confirm that there is a reprint of New Type Rising anywhere in the near future or on the books, period. So that being said, moving on, let's talk down, leave the 2 big boys. Sorcery, Contested Realm. So I did a little bit of a realistic Sorcery video on the new Gothic set, 440 cards, but it does look like the release date is tentatively for December 5th, for those of you who care. The price on these boxes it's like $100 a box from distribution. Yeah, I'm not really interested. There's not enough money in it to even mess around. Quite honestly, I wish them well. Is what it is. Star Wars, don't care about. Union Arena, I do want to talk about this very quickly. So we have the Nikki set that's coming out here in December, I believe, November. So right after Thanksgiving. But as we move on and we get into early 2026, it does look like there are serialized cards coming to the English sets. This is not a game that I do a whole lot with. We carry some of it for the store. I'm just looking to see. Yeah, so right here, there are only 100 of these serialized cards made, blah, blah, blah. So traditionally with Union Arena, there have been serialized cards in the Japanese sets. There have been some autograph cards, I believe, in the Japanese sets, but that has not translated to English. It is going to start with the serialized cards in English, which is super interesting from a collectability perspective. This is just one that's head scratching to me, because when I look at the sets, it's kind of it's one of those games where all the products go down at release outside of a very, very rare handful of IPs. And this is one of those games with Bandai where you have to order 9 months ahead of time. So I just want to point that out. It is an interesting change. As of right now, I'm doing nothing with it, but whatever. Moving to Weiss, we do have Azure Lane Volume 2 coming out in 2 weeks now. 2 weeks, 12 days, yeah. So this is coming out shortly. We'll see what the sell-through looks like. It looks like a lot of pre-orders are out there, $1,300, $1,400 per case. If it's anything like Nikki, there's going to be a lot of product that hits the market. The sell-through is going to be high, and then it's going to dry up. So I know I've mentioned this every week, but there's about 300 boxes of Nikki available before the boxes go up to $77 or $78 per box. Because the market is drying up and there's one store that owns the bulk of the inventory that's out there. So as with anything with Weiss, as the dumps work through the system or the supply works through the system, things just move up over time. Now, I would be surprised if there isn't a second edition Nikki coming at some point. But for now, there is no more supply, and there's still like 25 boxes a day selling on TCG Player. It's like 600 boxes in the last month, which is absolutely insane. The sell-through for a Weiss set is just batshit crazy. So let's do Magic first. No, you know what? Let's do Pokemon first, because everybody goes to the end for Pokemon. I'm gonna jump in here. So Pokemon, not much has changed. It does look like, so initially we were told from distribution that Mega Evolutions 2 was going to be 50-50, and then all of the ancillary products that release after Mega Evolutions 1 will be 50-50. Looks like it's actually coming in with 60-40 from the allocation, which is interesting. I have gotten 3 allocations for Mega Evolutions 2, and it's almost identical to Mega 1. I got a handful of extra boxes, handful of extra bundles, like an extra case of ETBs from everybody. So quite honestly, I think Mega 2 is going to be in a very similar situation to Mega 1. I mean, Mega 1 is obviously a superior set. It's a much deeper set, but people are going to be after the Charizard chase. The one thing I do want to mention on here, and I have not heard anything from distribution. So a couple weeks ago, PokeBeach put out an article spoiling a Paldean Fates EX box, and I think it's 11 packs, if I recall correctly. It's like Iron Tusk and some other, it doesn't really matter. I have not found that SKU anywhere from distribution. None of my reps know anything about it. I do know it is in the Walmart system, or so I've been told. So it looks like as of right now, it is potentially a Walmart exclusive, which would be really, really head shocking, since we haven't seen much Paldean Fates at all outside. We just got the sticker collections that came through distribution. We haven't seen any bundles. We haven't seen much of anything there, except for the stickers. So this is interesting. It's a bold strategy to come out on December 26th, which I believe is a release date, basically or effectively 3.5 months before the set rotates out. It's a weird one to me. But other than that, not a whole lot. You guys have all heard the rumblings about print capacity freeing up in Q1. For those of you who have reps and have contacts at the Pokemon Company, they've been very vocal about how they have print capacity freeing up in Q1. And it looks like the bottleneck, at least as far as I can tell, is the packaging, not the actual manufacturing of the cards or anything else, because as we've seen, a lot of the errors, and I feel like I've said this until I blew in the face, a lot of the errors are packaging errors, wrong product and wrong package. So we'll see. So moving to Magic the Gathering. So Spider-Man came out. It was not quite what everybody thought it was going to be. From a success perspective, I think the card's cool. I've been buying a ton of collector boxes because, quite honestly, 500 bucks or whatever. Uh, I just there's so little downside at this point. Now there's a ton of product out there. I know Micro Center has like piles of this stuff, which I don't even know how that's possible. But I'm not Rudy level, but I'm for sure, but I'm getting close to 200 collector boxes just kind of sitting here. But I do want to mention, so we received a massive second wave of collector boxes from distribution that distribution claimed they didn't know about. And I know somebody mentioned, one of the distributors like, oh, well, we were told they were stuck in customs. Well, the boxes were printed in the US. It's all bullshit. So what I think happened was the sell through in Amazon was so pathetically bad after it came out that there were no serialized cards. Everybody scalping Amazon canceled their boxes. So I believe that WotC just took pallets of these and sent them to distribution and said blow them out, because we were so dangerously close to the end of Q3 with the release date of 9/26. They had to push them to distribution because having them sit in Amazon isn't revenue. It's not a sale until it transacts because it's direct to consumer. If they sell it to distro, they can book the revenue, they can book the profit in the quarter. So I think that's what happened with Spider-Man. Use it to your advantage. The product isn't nearly as bad as what everybody says it is. And I mean, look, with the Soulstone chase cards, I have a hard time believing it's going to stay down here. And the other bogey here that nobody's talking about is the next Marvel set is a June 2026 set. So as we know, the hype train's going to start in March or April. And right now it's October. We have 6 months to sit on this stuff till people start to pay attention again. So the fact that we're going to get a massive pump from WotC in March of next year, there's nothing that's not the like about owning this right now, at least in my opinion. So Avatar, I would not pre-sell this at all, quite honestly, because the collector boxes, I mean, they've been pre-selling at 800 bucks. I saw sub 700, I think, over the weekend. They're going to get smashed, in my opinion. I would be surprised if these are, $450 to $500 at release. And I know everybody's like, Avatar is a great IP and it's better than Spider-Man and this and that. That's bullshit. The saying, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, they all stink. The Avatar IP is so narrow. It's not going to carry the set. So hopefully the set's a banger. But I just don't see any catalyst that's going to shift the demand curve on Avatar back to where we were with Final Fantasy from where we are now with Spider-Man. I think it's going to be pretty much par for the course, maybe a little bit lighter. And again, if you don't have the scalp demand from Amazon, you're going to have softer sales. So the pricing is going to be softer. So we're kind of sitting in no man's land here where it doesn't make any sense to scalp the product, bought the product, whatever. It's like maximum pain for everybody, which is kind of cool. The other thing with Avatar, and I'm super interested in this. So the Jumpstart booster boxes, and I actually had this debate in Discord today. So this is effectively the one Jumpstart they're doing a year. And I look at this as effectively Foundations Jumpstart. So I am oddly bullish on the Jumpstart product normally Jumpstart's kind of a throwaway, but now that they're just doing one a year, I think it's going to be interesting. I really do. Now we'll find out what it looks like once we get spoilers here, which should quite honestly happen very shortly. But I'm probably more bullish on the Jumpstart than I am any of the other products here. Because, quite honestly, they're beginner boxes. And there's a bunch of bullshit SKUs that nobody really cares about. The scene box, I don't even know why anybody does the scene boxes. They don't sell. People generally don't like them. So, moving on. So, we have the Final Fantasy Holiday. So, we have the Chocobo. We have the Commander deck, which is This is the laziest product, I think, since Double Feature. They basically took a deck, they reskinned it with new shit. The cards are exactly the same. They told us, "Hey, great! Guess what? You're gonna get a sample pack in there, which we already get in everyone." Um, and then they priced it at like $99 as MSRP for the deck. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a garbage product. The Holiday Chocobo bundle, I also think, is a lazy garbage product. For those of you who don't know, there's like, I think there are 4 scene boxes, and each scene box has 3 play packs in. So each Chocobo bundle has 12 play packs. So for those of you who are scratching your head saying, "Hey, where are all the play packs at?" They've been reprinting them to go in these in these fucking holiday bundles, and to go to Best Buy. I don't know if you guys saw, but they started selling them last week on the website. It just didn't come through distribution through the channels it was supposed to, because they were printing it to put in this ancillary product that, quite honestly, doesn't look like it has anything special at all. Not a fan. They printed a Japanese one. This is a product where, again, nobody's going to give a shit. And then you just have the scene boxes. Like, unless this thing is printed super thin, I don't see any chase. And I know they have the new art. I guess it's like 2 of 22 special arts in each one to collect. I just don't see it. I think it's a lazy product. I think there's no chase in it, and quite honestly, I think it's kind of junk. But people are going to buy it, so it is what it is. And then moving to Lorwyn, it looks like we had the collector box art spoiled. So there are serialized cards again in Lorwyn. It does look like the Lorwyn collector boxes are going to be printed in Japan once again, whereas Avatar, Spider-Man, well, I shouldn't say that. Avatar is also being printed in Japan. Spider-Man and Edge of Eternities were in the US. So look, maybe we got a shot at having some serialized cards in Avatar that were thrown in last minute. It's certainly not on the box art anywhere, but we'll see. We'll see. So other than that, there's not a whole heck of a lot going on. So look, guys, like the video, subscribe channel, join the Discord, and have a good Sunday evening.